Recording in progress.
Good afternoon. May peace be upon all of us. His Excellency, Chairperson of BKKBN, Bapak Dr. Hasto Wardoyo, Medical Doctor of Jin. Her Excellency, Madam Lila Karsai, Ambassador of Hungary to Indonesia. His Excellency, Bapak Abdurrahman Hudiono Dimas Wahab, Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to Hungary in Budapest, which is in this occasion represented by Bapak Gunadi Adi Sasmita, Minister, Consular of Indonesian Embassy in Budapest. Honorable Dr. Arpad Mezaros, Strategic Vice President of the Maria Kopp Institute for Demography and Families in Hungary. Irma Ardiana, Medical Doctor, MAPS, Officer in Charge, Deputy for Training, Research, and Development of BKKBN. Dr. Uki Kusuma Kurniawan, SKM, to mention your name and institution and to whom your question be addressed to. Fourth, the link of attendance to get the e-certificate and materials of this webinar will be shared at the end of the session. Fifth, we also provide $5 prize provided by the Embassy of Hungary for participants who are actively participate in this evening during the Q&A and discussion session. Excellencies, distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen. Before we begin, we would like to take a picture together with all participants who joined virtually in this webinar for our documentation report, and we would like to request all of you to kindly turn on your camera from your device. I will count down from 3, 2, 1, and action. Ladies and gentlemen, could you please be prepared? We will take a photo session together. Okay? 3, 2, please open your camera. Thank you. And let's take picture together. 3, 2, 1, action. Okay, thank you very much. Excellency, honorable ladies and gentlemen, to begin with, I would like to invite Officer in Charge, Deputy for Training and Research Development, to deliver her welcome greetings. To Dr. Irma, the time is yours.
Thank you, Ibu Feby. Let me check first my notes. Yeah. Good afternoon. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om
Waalaikumsalam
Swastiastu,
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Namo Buddhaya. His Excellency, Bapak Dr. Hasto Wardoyo, Medical Doctor, OBGYN Consultant, the Chairperson of BKKBN, Her Excellency Ms. Lila Karsey, Ambassador of Hungary to Indonesia, His Excellency Bapak Abdurrahman Budiono Dimas Wahab, Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to Hungary in Budapest, which in this occasion represented by Bapak Gunadi Adisasmita, Minister Counselor of Indonesian Embassy in Budapest, Honorable Dr. Arpad Mesdaros, Strategic Vice President of the Maria Kopp Institute for Demography and Families in Hungary, Dr. Uki Kusuma Kurniawan, Head of CITC BKKBN, and Dr. Yulina Evariani, PhD, Parenting and Family Support Center, the University of Queensland, Australia. Excellencies, distinguished guests, and fellow participants from across Indonesia. It is my honor and privilege to stand before you today to address this event. As the OIC Deputy for Training, Research and Development of BKKBN, I want to extend my warm welcome to Ambassador Insight event to Her Excellency Ms. Lila Karsey, the Ambassador of Hungary to Indonesia, and Dr. Arpad Mesdaros, I'm sorry if I misspell your name, Strategic Vice President of the Maria Kopp Institute for Demography and Families in Hungary. Thank you for gracing this event with your presence. It is my sincere hope that the next 1.5 hours will be filled with valuable insight, engaging conversation, and of course, meaningful connection. I also would like to express my appreciation and congratulations to the CITC or Pulin team for organizing this event. Now, let us hear the remarks from the Chairman of the National Population and Family Planning Board, or BKKBN, of the Republic of Indonesia, Bapak Dr. Hasto Wardoyo, MD OBGYN Consultant, who also will open this event officially. Thank you. Hand over to you, Ibu Feby.
Thank you, Dr. Irma, for your welcome greeting. And now, we would like to request the honor to invite the Chairperson of the National Population and Family Planning Board of the Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency Bapak Dr. Honoris Causa Hasto Wardoyo, Medical Doctor, OBGYN Specialist and Consultant, to give his welcoming remark and officially welcome on open this event. Bapak Hasto, the floor is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Morning for all. Her Excellency Ms. Lila Karsey, Ambassador of Hungary to Indonesia. His Excellency Bapak Abdurrahman Budiono Dimas Wahab, Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to Hungary in Budapest, which in this occasion represented by Bapak Gunadi Adisasmita, Ministry Counselor of Indonesia Embassy in Budapest, Honorable Dr. Arpad Mesdaros, Strategic Vice President of the Maria Kopp Institute for Demographic and Family in Hungary, Dr. Irma, Officer in Charge, Deputy for Training, Research and Development BKKBN, Dr. Uki, Head of CITC BKKBN, Dr. Julia Eva, PhD, Parenting and Family Support Center, the University of Queensland, Australia, Director for Europe Regional 1, Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, let us thank the God of this blessing and for allowing us to meet in this event. First of all, I would to convey my heartfelt gratitude to the Embassy of Hungary to Indonesia and the Embassy of Indonesia in Budapest and the Institution for Population and Family in Hungary for participate and contribute this event. This is a glorious moment, and I wish to extend my warm welcome on behalf of National Population and Family Planning Board, or BKKBN, to this event, namely Ambassador Insight, to share policy, program, and best practice between two countries in the field and population, family planning, and family development. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, Law number 52, 2009, concerning population development of family development, clearly illustrate the strategic role BKKBN in population development and family development by being directly responsible to the President. Population is the central point in sustainable development to realizing balanced population growth and achieving quality of population and family. Balanced population growth and quality family must be carried out by managing the birth rate and reduce the death rate, managing population mobility, and develop population quality in all its dimensions. BKKBN, through my program, this name Berencana program, which stand for family development, population, and family planning program, BKKBN create quality families and balanced population growth in Indonesia. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, today through activity we have the opportunity to share information and best practice of both countries, Indonesia and Hungary. We have the opportunity to hear the program and best practice and gain insight and lesson learned for the Embassy of Hungary, especially for institution of population and family of the government of Hungary. Yeah. Lastly, BKKBN stresses the need of global cooperation to address global issues such as population and development issues. As demonstrated in our nomination for United Nations Population Award 2022, Indonesia championed the issue for population and one of the key drivers for development. In closing, allow me to express my deep appreciation for cooperation between BKKBN and Embassy of Hungary to Indonesia, and may this activity benefited both countries and become as a bridge for future cooperation. Finally, with this remark, I declare this event open and wish you all fruitful discussion. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Honorable Bapak Dr. Honoris Causa Hastowardoyo, Medical Doctor of GYN, for your remarks and officially open this event. Excellencies, distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen, now we are coming to the discussion session, which will be moderated by Dr. Yulina Evariani, PhD. She is a research fellow at Parenting and Family Support Center, the University of Queensland, Australia. To Dr. Yulina, the floor is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. His Excellency Chairperson of BKKBN, Bapak Dr. Hastowardoyo, MD of GYN. Her Excellency Ms. Lila Karsai, Ambassador of Hungary to Indonesia. His Excellency Bapak Abdurrahman Hudiono Dimas Wahab, Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to Hungary in Budapest, which in this occasion represented by Bapak Gunadi Adisasmita, Minister Counselor of Indonesian Embassy in Budapest, Honorable Dr. Arpad Mezaros, Strategic Vice President of the Maria Kopp Institute for Demography and Families in Hungary, Ibu Irma Ardiana, MD MAPS, Officer in Charge Deputy for Training, Research and Development of BKKBN, Bapak Dr. Uki Kusuma Kurniawan, SKM MPS MA, Head of Center International Collaboration on BKKBN, ladies and gentlemen. So, in this occasion, I'm very pleased to moderate this valuable event. Thank you for Ibu Febi as the Master of Ceremony for giving the floor to moderate this session. This event focusing on population and economic issue. Ladies and gentlemen, as we know, population is very closely linked to the economic development of the society. The quantity, quality, structure, distribution, and movement of a population, of course can be a supportive or can be a challenge to the rate of the economic development. For high middle income country with low population density and low percentage of employment, people needs an increase in population in order to keep up with the economic development. However, on the other hand, for low middle economy country with a high population density and high percentage of employable people, any increase in population will be a challenge to its economy. In this webinar, we will have a sharing knowledge on population and economic issue, lesson learned from Hungary as a developed country with approximately 10 million people. But first of all, I will invite Dr. Uki Kusuma Kurniawan, SKM MPS MA, as the Head of International Collaboration on Population and Family Planning of BKKBN to present on Population, Family Planning, and Family Development Program in Indonesia, BKKBN's program implementation. So please welcome Bapak Dr. Uki. The time is yours.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator, Dr. Eva. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good afternoon to all of you. In Indonesian language, we call it Selamat Siang, Madam. In Hungarian language, we call it Hiu Napot. Correct? Yes, thank you very much. His Excellency Dr. Hastowardoyo, the Chairperson of the National Population and Family Planning Board of Republic of Indonesia or BKKBN, Her Excellency Madam Lila Karsai, the Ambassador of Hungary to Indonesia. Welcome, Excellency Madam. His Excellency Mr. Abdurrahman Hudiono Dimas Wahab, the Ambassador of Republic of Indonesia to Hungary in Budapest, in which in this occasion is represented by Mr. Gunadi Adisasmita, the Minister Counselor of the Indonesian Embassy in Budapest. The Honorable Madam Ilona Todt, the Deputy Head of Mission of the Hungary Embassy of Jakarta Office. Thank you, Madam. Welcome. The Honorable Dr. Arfat Maizaros, the Strategic Vice President of the Maria Kopp Institute for Demography and Families in Hungary. Dr. Irma Ardiana, the Officer in Charge, Deputy for Training, Research and Development of BKKBN. Dr. Yulina Evariani, the Parenting and Family Support Center, University of Queensland, Australia, the Madam Moderator. The Director for Europe Regional 1, the Indonesian Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Indonesia. Our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the Committee of BKKBN, Pulin, Public Relation, Directorate for Technology, and also Directorate of IEC BKKBN. Excellency, Madam Ambassador, and also Honorable Madam Deputy Head of Mission of Hungary, let us now, with your permission, we would like to present from the BKKBN the entitled Population, Family Planning, and Family Development Program in Indonesia. Next slide, please. We have here 20 slides. This is the second slide. The outline of this presentation would be divided into 4 parts. The first part regarding an overview of population and family planning program in Indonesia. The second part, telling us about the current our office BKKBN strategic plan 2020 to another 4 years until 2024. The third part explains us about family development and family resilience program. And the last part, knowledge hub for international training program in BKKBN. Next slide, please. This is the first part of our presentation, overview of population and family planning in Indonesia. Next slide, please. This slide explains us about the Indonesia historically fertility rates indicated by the total fertility rate or TFR. Starting from the first measurement in 1971, Indonesia reported the TFR at 5.6 children per woman, or in average, every woman in Indonesia at that time, in the year 2071, had between 5 until 6 children. And along the time, we have a steadily decreasing trend of the total fertility rates, and now reaching the figure at 2.18 based on the long-form population census 2020. And also between this time, we also have the period of time, the middle point here, there is the transition of the government policies in Indonesia between the highly centralized system until around the early 2000, yes, 2003, then we start to implement the decentralization policies in Indonesia. And most of the publications associated with this transition into a bit stagnant, the constant number of TFR in Indonesia at 2.6 between these years from 2002 until 2007. Yeah, we have 2.6 TFR. But fortunately now, Indonesia experiencing the decreasing number for the total fertility rate reaching 2.1 children per woman. So this is the good achievement in terms of family planning program. Next slide, please. This is also telling us about the population pyramid projected until the year 2040. Now, from this figure, we can see that between two population pyramids, the one in the 2020, we still have relatively big number for the young population. But in the next year, 2040, we have a slightly different pattern or a shape of the population pyramid, indicating that we have the much bigger proportion of the elderly, or that the population reaching the age of the 60 years and above. This is also the good sign, indicating that the improving health status across Indonesian population. Next slide, please. Then, because of this different or changing trend of the population age structure, then Indonesia also experiencing what's so-called demographic dividend or demographic bonus. In two prerequisite or in two conditions. The first condition, when the per capita income increased due to the rise of productive population relative to the non-productive population. In the second condition, predicted to achieve during the increase of the current working age population, disposable asset saving, and finance future consumption. So this is the two conditions experiencing Indonesia of the demographic dividends. Next slide, please. Concerted effort to optimize how to harnessing the demographic bonus. According to Professor Aditomo in the year 2017, so we started from the changes in the population age structure. After then, we should invest the education. And thirdly, the purple one, conducive, good governance. And the red one, the healthy and productive, and as well as indicated by Madam Ambassador, skilled worker also. This is also holds the key important points. And the conducive economic policy, after then we can harness the demographic dividend and economic growth. Next slide, please. We now coming to the second part of our presentation. Our office, the National Population and Family Planning Board, or BKKBN, strategic plan from the year 2020 until the next 4 years, 2024, until this year. Next slide, please. So, this is the BKKBN vision and mission for the next 4 years regarding our vision. In line with our President, His Excellency Mr. Joko Widodo, on the development plans, we have the BKKBN vision to realize a quality family and balanced population growth to support the achievement of the sovereign, independent, and personal based on mutual cooperation. And then how to achieve this mission, BKKBN translate into 6 missions of its office. Firstly, all issues related to population management in our country. Secondly, conducting family planning and RH, reproductive health services. Thirdly, establishing family development. Fourthly, networking. That's what our directorate here working on. The building partnership and networking, community participation, including global cooperation. Global cooperation meaning our good collaboration maintained between Indonesia and Hungary. And fourthly, innovation and IT. And sixthly, the enhanced capacity and human resources. So all of issues related of those 6 topics will be justified for our office to have a global cooperation with our international partners. Next slide, please. So, in terms of national policy and strategic direction of BKKBN, once again, we translate it into our program in our office, namely, firstly, so this is according to clockwise. Firstly, in your right-hand side, population management policies. Yes, all of the population issues, we are dealing with the program in Indonesia. Secondly, to advocate and mobilize our program, so-called Bangga Kencana, taking into account regional and target characteristic. And thirdly, strengthening family information system and data. That's also, we need to strengthen our technology in terms of data information system. And then, fourthly, we have the family planning and RH, reproductive health services by region and focusing on target segmentation. And the sixthly, increasing family resilience and welfare. And those all 5 main programs are strongly supported by our management system here, improving quality of BKKBN workforce, improving quality of the management supporting, and also accountability of our program. Next slide, please. BKKBN, our office, also have the strategy to organize or so-called in program from headquarter, national level, down to the province, district, until village level. We have 4 basic or main support system here. Firstly, institutional arrangement. Up with 33 province population family planning offices, back up with the 14,000 family planning field worker and 10,000 employees, the non-government employees of family planning field worker, and also the cadre, the volunteer cadre, 1.2 million. And then secondly, we back up also with the regulatory framework, that's the medium-term development plans, and also all the government regulation related to family planning and population issues. And thirdly, the funding scheme, what so-called here, we have the specific allocation fund, derived from the Ministry of Finance in Indonesia to support our program in family planning, as well as mobilization the use of family village funds. In each village in Indonesia, we have village fund. We can also use it for the family planning program. And lastly, we have public service delivery framework. We have the SOP, the standard minimum procedure, and also the provision of contraceptive for national eligible couple, and also the family enumeration system data. Next slide, please. Third part of our presentation, family development and family resilience program. Next slide. This is to address the challenges, that's what we call it, with also experience in Indonesia, as well as in other parts of this world. Yes, in terms of demographic transition and family structure, family qualities, social norm and culture, and globalization, climate change, and also digitalization, technology development. For example, in terms of demographic transition and family structure, we have the number of productive age increasing. The number of elderly will be double. High mobility, urbanization, diversity, the phenomenon of child-free. In terms of family qualities, marriage without proper preparation. The role of function of the family is not optimum due to the domestic violence, divorce, and other family issues. After then, social norms and culture. We have also the mindset of individual and family level community toward women, children, and the elderly. The double burden and unpaid care work for women. In terms of globalization and climate change, we have also increased individual and family vulnerabilities. In terms of digitalization, threats of the violence, bullying, and human trafficking. Next slide, please. And then, to address that issues or the problem in terms of the family issues, then come up with the regulation for the family development issued by our President of Indonesia, His Excellency Mr. Joko Widodo, through the law number 52, year 2009, regarding population development and family development. And then secondly, government regulation or peraturan pemerintah number 87, year 2014, regarding population development and family development, family planning, and family information system. That actually comment or instruct our office, the National Population and Family Planning Board, to implement population management and family development program. Next slide, please. What is addressed in the family development program? We call it 8 family function. In Indonesia, a family is considered functioning well or running well when they can fulfill that 8 function. What would be the function? Religion. When the family can practice their religion ritual properly. Secondly, protection. When the family can practice the protection for all of its family member. And also economy. When the family can increase their economy purchase or economic situation. Fourthly, socioculture. Fifthly, reproduction, reproductive health. And then environment. And the 7th one, love and affection. And the last one is the education. So all of those family function should be running well in each family in Indonesia. And the author in 2003 mentioned that families that do not function well cannot achieve high family resilience and will produce low quality of human resources. Next slide, please. Then how to achieve that 8 family function? In our office, BKKBN, we followed the approach of life cycle, the human life cycle approach, starting from the since the couple getting married, after then what we call it in the age of childbirth, and then when the child reaching their children school age, and then adolescent stage, and the adult age and marriage stage, after then entering the elderly situation or elderly stage. That all of this states will be covered by our program in BKKBN. Next slide, please. The target of family development activities to increase the ability of family caring for and assisting children to have the character building properly. Secondly, increasing ability of family assisting their adolescents. After then, improving quality of the vulnerable family and also increasing quality of life of the elderly. And lastly, increasing family economic independence. Next slide, please. This is in terms of family development. Then how? How are the activities to achieve that goals? In your left-hand side, how then the family in Indonesia try to nurture their toddler and children through what so-called the family group with those the family who have children under 5 years old, or Bina Keluarga Balita. Yes, with the program we call it the first 1,000 days of life, in reducing stunting and the movement become the great parents. After then, in your right-hand side, adolescent resilience development, when we can assist those families who have adolescent in their family. Next slide, please. This is in your left-hand side, the development of resilient family who have elderly in their family. This is also very important, how the family can have skill or information or knowledge how to nurture or to care their elder people in their own family. And lastly, family economic empowerment. We encourage our family planning clients to increase their economic income through the small and medium enterprises or small economic business in their village. Next slide, please. Now, the last part of our presentation, International Knowledge Hub in Indonesia. Next slide, please. We have here in Indonesia, Excellency Madam Ambassador, and also Honorable Madam Deputy Head of Mission, we have many topics of the international training program in Indonesia regarding the quality family village and also supply chain management, adolescent RH, and also microdata family enumeration, postpartum family planning program, comprehensive family planning service training, as well as the family planning post-disaster services. All of this will be conducted in the different provinces in Indonesia. Yes, so any form of collaboration between Hungary and Indonesia will be justified within this legal framework. Next slide, please. This is the last part. Excellency, Madam Ambassador, and Honorable Madam Deputy Head of Mission, we would like to invite you for an event so-called Ambassador Goes to Quality Family Village in Banyuwangi. Banyuwangi is a small town in the eastern tip of Java Island, very close to Bali. So actually Banyuwangi is the gate to enter Bali. 13 until 16 May, we will see those kind of the program that we already presented to see, then we can perhaps identify the potential collaboration between two countries regarding this program. And we understand after then, on 18 May of 2024, you will be attending the World Water Forum. So hopefully after visiting Banyuwangi, you will be visiting Bali. So there is no overlap time. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In Hungary language, we call it Hasanam. Is it correct, madam? Hasanam. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for the very valuable speech for Dr. Uki Kusuma Kurniawan. So probably just highlight some ideas from Dr. Uki. The first one, so we are happy now in 2020, at least our population decreasing to 2.18, right? And then even though we still have many family challenges such as like demography, family quality, social norms, climate change, etc. And I just realized that child-free issue is one of the challenge for our country now. And I'm very appreciative for the strategies to achieve family well-being that has been implemented in Indonesia through BKKBN, like a strategist approach using the lifespan. And also the last one, we would like to encourage Her Excellency Madam Ambassador to go to Kampung BKKBN, Kampung KB in May, ya Pak? In May, in Banyuwangi. All right, so move on to the next session. So we will have a speech, a keynote speech from Her Excellency Madam Lila Kasai as the Ambassador of Hungary to Indonesia to give a keynote speech. So please welcome Madam Lila Kasai.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed speakers, His Excellency Dr. Hasto Várdolyó, Chairman of BKKBN, His Excellency Dimas Wahab, Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to Hungary, and also represented by Pak Gunadi Adisasmita, Dr. Árpád Mészáros, Vice President of the Mária Kop Institute, and Dr. Ukik Kusuma, Deputy Chairman of BKKBN. Let me start my speech just with a very interesting fact, as it was also in your presentation, Pak Ukik, that that is a success story for Indonesia, that the population is now decreasing, which is the complete opposite of the Hungarian family planning. However, I see a lot of resembling ideas and strategy between our two countries. Second of all, I'm honored to have the opportunity to share my thoughts with you today regarding a topic that is crucial not only for the present, but also for the future of our societies, the importance of family values and their role in shaping the bilateral relations between Hungary and Indonesia. Let's admit, our countries face different challenges when it comes to demography. When we only think about those kind of differences, such as the size of the country or the population, as Hungary's population is around 10 million and Indonesia's it's like 280 million people. However, there are many similar values we also share. As we look around Europe today, we see a troubling trend of declining birth rates and shrinking populations in many countries. The phenomenon, often referred to as the demographic winter, poses a significant threat to our economies, societies, and security the years to come, if left unaddressed. In our case, it is a duty that we take action to reverse this trend and ensure a prosperous and sustainable future to our nations. I am proud to say that Hungary has emerged as a pioneering force in developing innovative solutions to combat the challenges posed by the demographic crisis. With a strong emphasis on family values and support for young couples, Hungary implemented a range of policies aimed at encouraging and empowering families to have the number of children they desire. The Hungarian approach centered around a word-based economy, a partnership between the church and the state, and a focus on conservative patriotic education and demography serves as a model for other nations facing similar challenges. In recent years, the world has witnessed a shift in focus towards individualism and materialism, often at the expense of the traditional family unit. However, both Hungary and Indonesia have remained steadfast in their commitment to upholding and promoting family values as a fundamental aspect of their cultures and identities. Family is the cornerstone of our societies, the basis of our values, and the foundation upon which we build our futures. In both Hungary and Indonesia, family holds special significance not only as a source of love and support, but also as a driving force for social unity and national progress. In Hungary, the belief that a strong, united, and healthy family is the cornerstone of security is deeply inbuilt in the national consciousness. By prioritizing the well-being and stability of families, our country is not only safeguarding its future, but also setting an example for others to follow. In the last decade, the number of the marriages and fertility rate showing desire to have children was increased the most in Hungary within the European Union. Similarly, Indonesia has recognized the pivotal role that family values play in shaping prosperous and secure society. With a very young population eager to contribute to the nation's development, Indonesia understands the importance of providing education and employment opportunities to its young professionals. Hungary's collaboration with Indonesia on scholarship opportunities, vocational training programs, and workforce recruitment initiatives is a testament to the shared commitment of both nations to nurturing their human capital and building a better future for their citizens. In recent years, our bilateral relations have strengthened significantly, to which the Hungarian and Indonesian higher education scholarship programs contributed greatly. Hungary offers 110 scholarships each year to Indonesian students within the framework of the Stipendium Hungaricum scholarship program. And last year, more than 70 students studied in Hungary with the Indonesian government's ISMA and ISMAVO scholarships. The vocational institutions and polytechnic schools have also expressed their interest to cooperate with Hungarian higher education institutions in order to develop their professional curriculum, by which more than 700 Indonesian vocational students spent their internship program in Hungary in the last year. In recent years, the number of Indonesians taking up work in Hungary has increased significantly, which is also in strong correlation with the demographic challenges our countries are facing. The employment of workers brings benefit for both parties, since while in Hungary we can talk about a labor shortage, in Indonesia there are difficulties in employing the large amount of young labor available. The Hungarian government is actively helping employment of foreign workers in Hungary within regulated framework, which is often referred to as a positive example from the Indonesian side. As we look ahead to Indonesia's Golden Vision 2045, a comprehensive roadmap for the nation's development, we see the critical role that a robust demographic policy plays in achieving its ambitious goals. By aligning their efforts and working together, Hungary and Indonesia can leverage their respective strengths and experiences to create a brighter future for their people and strengthen their bilateral relations. The ties that bind our two nations go beyond more than diplomatic relations. They are deeply rooted in shared values, beliefs, and the common understanding of the importance of family in shaping our societies. By recognizing and celebrating these shared values, Hungary and Indonesia has forged a unique bond that exceeds geographical boundaries and cultural differences. Thank you very much for the interesting presentation to Pak Uki Kusuma. I have learned a lot about Indonesia's approach and challenges regarding population management, family planning, and reproductive health promotion, and family development efforts. I believe that this event is a perfect example of how we can work together by sharing our experiences and good practices, understanding each other's challenges, learning from each other, and working together towards a better future. By promoting dialogue, exchange, and collaboration in the areas of family policy, education, and social welfare, both nations are working towards a more interconnected and harmonious future. In conclusion, let me emphasize the promotion of family values is not only a moral duty, but also a strategic necessity for nations seeking to navigate the challenges of the 21st century. By placing families at the center of their policies and partnerships, Hungary and Indonesia are paving the way for a more secure, prosperous, and harmonious future for their societies. Through our shared commitment to family values, the two countries have laid a solid foundation for deepening their bilateral relations and fostering greater understanding and cooperation between their people. Thank you very much for your kind attention, and please welcome with interest Dr. Árpád Mészáros, Vice President of the Mária Kopf Institute's presentation about the Hungarian family planning policies. Thank you very much. Terima kasih banyak.
Thank you very much for the speech, for the keynote speech, Madam Lila. So, as Madam Lila explained to us, Indonesia and Hungary, even though we have different population level and also size of country, but we have a similar value in family, that family driving social and also national development, and also either Indonesia and also Hungary put family as the center of the policy. All right, so now moving on to the next session, we have Dr. Árpád Mészáros, Strategic Vice President of the Mária Kopf Institute for Demography and Families of Hungary. So, and he's joining us through Zoom, yeah, and then he's going to present his presentation entitled Family Innovation for a Challenging Economic Environment in connection with the proposed topic, population and economic issues. So please welcome Dr. Árpád Mészáros.
Good afternoon, Your Excellencies, honorable ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored to take part in this highly valued meeting, and I heard a lot very interesting, innovative approaches in respect of the Indonesian government's vision of the future of population development in Indonesia. As the representative of Mária Kopf Institute, I would like to give a small insight into the Hungarian family policies. And after the first small introduction, I would like to emphasize the importance of family policies, introducing the principles of family policies. And after that, we can have a small picture about the results of family policies in Hungary. But first of all, I would like to emphasize the importance of the family values. Those have been mentioned by our Madam Ambassador. Her Excellency mentioned that family values in our countries are very important, and I do believe that there is an essence in respect of this when we are talking about family values, when we take into consideration what has been said by Mária Kopf, the name giver of our institution. Let all children wished for be born. And I do believe that it is the essence what we are talking about in our countries, and it is the essence for the whole future. So our institution is a publicly financed think tank founded by the Hungarian government in 2018, which is in charge of family policy orientation, preparation of decision-making, impact analysis, but at the same time creating publication, analysis, and research on population, childbearing, welfare of families. And I would like to mention that you can reach a lot of information in respect of the Hungarian family policies through our institution. On our website, you can find an e-library. There are a lot of very good informations could be reached free, and you can receive a very concrete insight into the results of the Hungarian family policy. So when we are talking about family policies, the question is always there. Why is it important? It is important because of several reasons. Of course, because of demographic reasons, emotional well-being and existence of the nation, but at the same time, from economic reasons, it is also very important. When we are talking about demographic reasons, in Hungary, we need to take into consideration that there is a strong population decline since 1981. And by 2011, the desire to have children had fallen to a historic low in Hungary. The fertility rate was 1.23, the lowest in the European Union at that time. So something should have been done. So that's why we are talking about demographic issues on a highest level in our country, and I do believe now in Europe and on the whole world. It is a very, very important issue. But when we are talking about the economic reasons, why we are talking about economic reasons in respect of demography, in respect of population issues, in respect of family policies. There is no economic growth and sustainable development without childbirth and the strengthening of families. Childbearing is the question of competitiveness and sustainability. Parenting and working encourage each other. We see in Hungary that it is a very essential starting point to create policies in respect of population and demographic issues. We are building a society based on work and family in Hungary, and I do believe that it is one of the most important messages when we are talking about the economic reasons of demography of population issues. Childbearing and responsible parenting are the most important investment in the future. So these reasons altogether can give an insight. Why is it so important to take into consideration the economic reasons also on the highest level when somebody is talking and thinking about population issues? A fundamental question is for all societies, especially in the light of the phenomenon of an aging society, who will work in the next generation? For us, this question is answered by the number of children born and raised in families with strong cohesion. That is why investing in families means investing in our future. And that is why we are investing more and more in families in Hungary. And this is also producing spectacular results in our fertility rate. With the increase of family support in proportion to the GDP in Hungary, fertility and the desire to have children increase. So it is very important to see that our numbers show that there is a strong connection between GDP proportionate and the family benefits and fertility. But when we are talking about families, when we are talking about population issues, it is also very important to take into consideration that society functions well when more people work. Our nation is traditionally family-friendly, but to feel it in practice, when living in a family, it is important that every aspect of the day-to-day running of society works in this way in practice. Why I'm telling this? I'm telling this because, and emphasizing this because it is not only about money, it is not all about different kind of measures, different kind of services provided for the people, provided for the families in the country. But at the same time, it is very important to see that the mindset should be changed in a country, then we are going to introduce family policies in our countries. Because otherwise the money spent on family policies couldn't reach their targets on alone. It is very important that the country itself as a whole should be helped to become a family-friendly country. And it is a very important message from Hungary that the country is a family-friendly country. And it is a family-friendly environment of the whole society, not only of the industry, not only of the government, but it is at the same time for an issue, a very important issue, to become family-friendly as an environment for the whole society. In view of all of this, when defining the government's goals, in summary, it is worth pointing out that in order to protect and support families, several large sectors such as healthcare, education, and social security systems must cooperate very closely. In order for the first child to be born as soon as possible in a predictable environment, a supportive work-based society is needed. We need a system in which everyone is assured of a flexible and broad possibility to choose the most suitable form of care, where financial security is constantly increasing for the sake of families' livelihood and growth. Family policy is perhaps the one with the widest social support among policies in Hungary, I do believe, because of this approach of the government. When we are talking about the principles of family policies, in Hungary, we can see 5 important pillars. Parenting should be financially advantageous. Families should receive help from home ownership. Family policy should be focused on mothers. Every aspect of the country's lives shall be made family-friendly, as I mentioned earlier, and families and children should be protected by law. There are 5 important areas where the measures should be introduced to reach our goals. Partially taking over the burden of parenting by financial support of families. Secondly, by measures for children's well-being. Thirdly, work-family reconciliation. Fourthly, housing, home ownership support. Fifthly, family-friendly environment and approaches, as we were talking about. When we are talking about financial support of families, it is very important that in Hungary there is a clear link between benefits and employment. Earlier, it was a political approach to make a basis on universal care to provide care for everyone. Now it is very important to see that the basis to receive benefits is on the basis of employment firstly. But at the same time, it is also very important to provide real opportunities, real option for the families to make the decision to stay home up to 3rd year of the child, or to return employment earlier, but not receive cares during staying home, or when returning to the labor market. I do believe that there are several measures. I wanted to mention that more than 30 measures were introduced in Hungary in respect of supporting the families. There are direct financial support, of course, measures, for example, in respect of family taxation, the personal income tax exemption for mothers with 4 children, and young people under 25 years and mothers under 30 years. but also very important childcare benefits were introduced by the Hungarian government. And I do believe that it is very important everywhere in the world now for the young mothers and fathers that the student loans should be reducing or eliminating when somebody becomes of a mother or father, starting a family, raising a child. At the same time, it is very important to introduce measures. Those could help people to reconcile work and family life. What does it mean? It means that it is very important to provide kindergarten services, the daycare, nursery system services for people, because otherwise they wouldn't be in the position to go back to the labor market before the child starts her or his years in the schooling system. And that's why I say that it is very important to strengthen the nursery and kindergarten system in the country, to provide real opportunities for families to handle the daycare of the children in their everyday life. In Hungary, it is also very important to start a family, to raise a child, to have your own home or flat, house or flat, and that's why very important programs were created in Hungary to provide non-refundable house or flat purchase subsidy or subsidized housing loans in Hungary, and I do believe that it is a very this has a very serious effect on economy, hand in hand, giving hand in hand advantages for families and economies and the economy at the same time. I'm telling this because it is very important that in this way, the families have the opportunity to create their own home, a secure housing in their start of their family life. And I do believe that this security is very important for most of the young people to take decision to start the family itself and to raise a child. And we are talking about the results of the family policy. I do need to emphasize the fact that several points can show us that the Hungarian measures are successful. For example, it is very important to see that the total fertility rate from 1.23 in 2011 changed to 1.56 in 2021. And it means that in a decade, with 30%, it increased, and it is the best what a country could achieve in the European Union in the last decade. But the most important thing is that more than 160,000 babies were born because of these programs. And I do believe that for Hungary, for a country with its 10 million inhabitants, it is a huge number. And at the same time, it is very important to see that the number of abortions decreased very seriously. The number halved in a decade. The number of marriages increased, almost doubled during this decade. And the number of divorces also decreased. And what I wanted to mention, and it is very important, I said that to give the choice for the parents to take a decision to remain at home with the child or to go back to the labor market. Those measures helped to increase the female employment in Hungary from at about 60% to 75% during the last decade, and I do believe that it is a very visible success. And at the same time, I do believe that it is very important to emphasize the fact that this change, this increase, was a very important source for labor force, for the national labor force in Hungary during this decade. So I mentioned that the employment rate in between women has increased, but I need to tell that it is also very important to see that before the new Hungarian governmental programs, the average of employment in Hungary was below the EU 27. Now it is much higher than the EU average. And at the same time, it is very important to see that the unemployment rate in 2010 was higher than the EU average. Now it is below, and it decreased very visibly according to the data in comparison to the EU average. And I do believe that it also shows the effectiveness of this kind of approach of family policies of a government. And I do believe that also a very important data is when we are talking about the per capita income of families with children in Hungary, and the per capita income in all family types increased significantly compared to 2010. And the largest increase, and we are very proud of it, 2.5 times higher, was in large families, which were previously most at risk of poverty in Hungary. Now, to live in a large family is not a risk of poverty anymore. And I do believe that it is a very important message according to the Hungarian family policies. According to our research, Hungarians stick to their own home among the aspects considered when having children. But what should we have when we are talking about family planning? What do we need as a young couple to start a family, to raise a child in a country? In Hungary, it is very visible that 3 important things are there. First, stable relationship. Secondly, work income. And thirdly, stable own home. Those 3 altogether can give a strong basis to start a family for a couple. And that's why I do believe that from this perspective, for the second and for the third reason, it is very important to see that the Hungarian measures, the governmental measures, and as I mentioned earlier, altogether with the family-friendly environment of the whole society, can create a future, a vision of the future for the young couples, for the young people, to understand that the measures will be there, not only for a few months, for a few years, but for the next 10, next 20 years, when they are going to raise their own child. So from this perspective, it is very important to see that the measures, those could help the incomes of the families and can create a stable home for the families to raise the child. I do believe that it is very important to see that these measures altogether at the same time very important measures in respect of the Hungarian economy itself, and they have their very visible effects on the Hungarian economic system. To give you an example, every fifth family was able to get a bigger home or move into its own home with the provided measures, and this directly helped the growth of the economy through the construction industry in Hungary. And I do believe that it is also very important to see that to live in a family is not having children is not a risk of poverty anymore, but at the same time the domestic power now the families as a domestic power is in place in Hungary now. Power has strengthened. And it is a very important issue as a consumer perspective of the economy of our country. But I do believe that one last thing is worth mentioning in respect of the employment issues, that the flexible working forms and practices also were strengthened by law and governmental measures. And I do believe that this is an opportunity for the future to create very strong connections between the economic and the economic interests of a country, creating more internal working force resources for the future. And I do believe that following this track could provide at the same time for the families more opportunities to remain as a strong consumer on the market of the country. And I do believe that these two important factors could strengthen each other. So, summarizing, I would like to emphasize the fact that in the last decade, in Hungary, there was a very visible family-friendly period, and all types of families have been strengthened through the measures of the Hungarian government. And because of this, desire to get married and to have children visibly increased in Hungary, but at the same time, work and family are in balance now, and the well-being and the living standards of families improved. So these are the factors and the results. Those can show us that the Hungarian family policy was successful. But I need to admit it, there are still many demographic challenges also for Hungary, very visible on the table. So we are not at the end of our road. We are in between of the road, and very important challenges should be handled in the future. Firstly, aging, and of course the instability, the war, pandemic issues, illegal migration issues also should be taken into consideration when we are talking about the future. Thank you very much. I hope that I was able to keep my time schedule, and I'm very, very grateful for the opportunity to be with you during this meeting. And I wanted to mention that our institution is very keen to work together with you. And if you have questions and we can provide data or any information, we are absolutely open to to work with you in the future, sharing our experiences and sharing our knowledge in respect of population issues, demography issues, and family policy issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mezaros, for the insightful presentation. So I think we also know that the phenomenon now is changing. Like Dr. Mezaros explained that now large family is not risk of poverty anymore in Hungary, but probably in Indonesia still. Yes. And also some notes that I take during his presentation. I like the way Dr. Mezaros present that responsible parenting is important for child development. So that's why Hungary government investing family. That means investing future. So it's very powerful message, I think, for everybody. And also, I take notes here that the 5 main focus to build family-friendly country in Hungary, giving or supporting family financial, and then education for family, focusing on mothers, and then family housing and protective family by law. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time for us to move on to the next speech. So we already have Bapak Gunadi Adisasmita as a Minister Counselor of Indonesian Embassy in Budapest. So good afternoon, Pak.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What time is it in Budapest?
It's 9:28 in the morning.
Oh, in the morning. So good morning then to Pak Gunadi. So Pak Gunadi will present the topic about potential future collaboration between Indonesia and Hungary in the field of family development, population, family planning, and stunting reduction. So please welcome Bapak Gunadi. The time is yours.
Thank you very much for the moderator given to me. First, Chairman of BKKBN, Excellency Ambassador Lila Kasai, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, Yonapot Kivanov. First of all, I would like to apologize that due to the unforeseen circumstances, the Ambassador, His Excellency Dimas Wahab, could not be present and asked me to represent him. First of all, I would like to say I welcome the initiative from the BKKBN that to enhance a global triangular South-to-South cooperation has an idea of exchanging the best practices on the family development, protection, and family planning with several countries, including Hungary, through Ambassador Insight. I would start by saying that family policy in Hungary refers to the government measures to increase the birth rate and to stop the decline of the country's populations. Hungary has a family policy that seeks to subsidize childcare for new parents, while in Indonesia, the government population policy include reducing the rate of population growth, achieving redistribution of the population, adjusting economic factors, and creating prosperous families. And through BKKBN, or National Population and Family Planning Agency, has a Bangga Kencana program, which is a rebranding of the population of family planning and family development. Nationally, the Indonesian government is providing a long-term contraceptive method and short-term contraceptive method. The family planning program in Indonesia is aimed at the reducing of the rate of maternal and child mortality, total fertility rate, and extreme poverty, while also campaigning to encourage people not to get pregnant at too young an age, too old an age, too frequently, and too often. Although I heard before from the previous speaker that the population rate in Indonesia is currently a decrease. The latest program that will be carried out by the next government in Indonesia is to provide a free lunch for students to handle stunting or malnutrition. I also heard that there is also a draft law of paternity leave that will be given to male government employees when their wives give birth or miscarry. And the length of this paternity leave is still being discussed by the government and the parliament. Ladies and gentlemen, as mentioned by the previous speaker, Hungary population is decreased since 1981 when it reached 10.7 million. Nowadays, the population of Hungary stands 9.75 million and has been decreasing since 1981. There is also a consensus in Hungary between political side that this issue is going to be one of the most concerning and important problems of the 20th century. In March 2024, the Eurostat published the so-called total fertility rate for 2022. And based on this rate, Hungary had the sixth highest fertility rate in the European Union in 2022, which is 10 on the birth rate of 1.56. Having said that, the Hungarian government declared to solve demographic problem of Hungary with supporting family. The Minister of Family in April 2020 announced that the Hungarian government plans what we call to build a family-friendly country, aiming to overcome the obstacle faced by couple planning to have a child. The government aimed at solving the demographic issue domestically, but not with the immigration. Ladies and gentlemen, the Hungarian government has taken numerous measures for a couple to start a family. Among many, one of the flagship measures, one of them started in 2015, when the government launched a financial program called the Family Housing Support Program, or SOP, and the baby waiting loan from 2019 onward, a financial support that helped kickstart a family with a newborn child expected in the coming years, as it was mentioned by the speaker before. There are many other programs and policies which I do not dare to mention, but from my personal experience, for example, I have two daughters who study at the school in Hungary. When she commuting to school, they are using a public transportation. They don't need to buy tickets, which I believe is useful for supporting children going to school and ease parent financial burden, in this case, my burden. Also, in Hungary, there is also an event called the Budapest Demographic Summit, a conference where politicians, church leaders, and other experts talk about demographic issues. It was held in 2015, and it takes place every 2 years. This summit is an important international strategic forum on demographic issues since 2015. I believe that last year, Indonesia was also invited to this conference. Ladies and gentlemen, although Indonesia and Hungary have different challenges and problems that need different approach, both countries have also the same values on family matters, and both sides have pursued a family-friendly policy, entailing countless measures, not only standing by family values, but supporting the starting of new families, protecting traditional values, and providing opportunities for a fulfilling, happy life for all citizens. Having said so, there is still a chance and ample opportunity to start initiating a cooperation between the two countries in the field of family development, population, and family planning. According to my personal research that I have made on investigating Hungarian policy that may benefit to the Indonesian system, I would recommend investigating the following policies that in some form in Hungary have potential opportunity for cooperation between Indonesia and Hungary in the field of family development, population, and family planning, including children stunting reduction. First, regular cash and in-kind benefits for children. The system for regular cash benefit for children has been operating in a uniform system for years and decades, with a minor and major modification and enforcement of new legislation like SET, GET, and GES. And secondly, benefit in kind, which is children meal discount and children nutrition is in-kind care that can be used free of charge if a certain condition are met. Third one, the regular child protection discount, which is include a free or discounted institutional children's meal, and if it meets the condition laid down in the law. Based on my observation, most schools in Hungary, they have their own canteen providing lunch for students, and this canteen also take care of the dietary concern. The other one is the financial support twice for a year for students. Other discount defined by law also for students. Plus, the embassy is more than willing to become a bridge builder between the concerned institution from both countries. I believe that both countries have best practices that could be shared to one another. Lastly, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to all parties for your hard work in convening this event and making it a success. Thank you, and Kusunam Sepan to all of you. Good luck.
Thank you very much, Bapak Gunadi Adisasmita, for the speech. So I think from Bapak Gunadi's speech, we know that a lot of opportunity to collaborate between two countries. All right. Now we move on to the next session that has been waiting for. There is a question and answer session. Due to Dr. Mozaros has another agenda, so he has to leave by 15:25, I guess. So any question, please send to his email. But don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, we still have other speakers here who will be able to answer your question. So now probably it's time for us to open the session, the question session. So we invite for people to ask questions live by raising their hands, virtually of course. So the committee, please. Yes, we already have Ibu Chia. Okay, Miss Chia here. Okay, so please introduce yourself and then the question.
Okay, hello. Hello?
Yes,
Can you hear
please.
me?
I think it's not that clear because the volume needs to turn up.
Can my voice be heard clearly now?
Yes, sure.
Okay, first of all, thank you for the opportunity given to me. My name is Chia. I'm a data analyst in the Directorate of Population Planning and Control of BKKBN.
Okay.
First of all, I would really agree that children or the younger generations are one of the most fundamental force on reaching a comprehensive development in all sectors. So therefore, population decrease is a big problem. It's really amazing. It's really amazing for me knowing that Hungary's willingness to have children has been increasing among the other European Union countries. Is it because of the family-friendly country program, or is there any other reason behind that? And then about the total fertility rate, basically Hungary's total fertility rate has been increased to 1.56, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
in 2022. How did Hungary increase their fertility rate? Because Indonesia really want to keep its total fertility rate at 2.1 or the of 2.1 children per woman, and the replacement level to keep the, how do I say it, like the human resource in Indonesia. So it doesn't really decrease, because as the first point that I've been agreeing on is the big contribution that can be held, that can be brought by the younger generations among all country. That's it. Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, Ms. Tia, so you have two questions. The first question is, what factor that cause couples in Hungary are willing to have children? Is that because of family-friendly programs or any other factors or programs in Hungary? And the second question, how to maintain the fertility rate in Hungary to stay, to stay,
Or increase the
or
fertility.
to maintain or increase the fertility rate in Hungary from 1.23 now in 2021 to be 1.56. Is that because of the quality of human capital in Hungary or any other things? Okay, so we collect the question first. Yes, please. Okay. Thank you, madam. Okay, the second question, please. Thank you, Ms. Tia. And who's this? Okay, Ibu Sylvia. Would you please to putting down your camera down a little bit so we can see your beautiful face? Okay, please, Ibu Sylvia. Miss Sylvia.
Okay, thank you, Miss. Well, the Excellency, Madam Ambassador of Hungary and Mr. Mezaros Arpat, thank you for letting us know about the population situation in Hungary through your nice presentation. It was interesting. And for Mr. Gunadi Adisasmita, it was precious to share about your children who school in Hungary. It was nice, yeah. And assess the population situation of Hungary from World Matter. I found that the fertility rate trend fluctuated during 60 years, it seems, yeah. In 1955, it was 2.82, then decreased. And the lowest fertility rate was in 2010, about 1.25. Fertility rate forecast 25 years from now, so it will be rising to 1.63. And also in 2024, the median age is 42.5 years, and the life expectancy at birth is 77.1 years. My questions are, what is the cause of the decreasing the fertility rate in 2010 to 1.25? It was too low, is it? And then rising to 1.58 in 2024. What happened in those periods of time in Hungary? Okay, the second question is, what is the strategy to the Hungarian government to increase the population to the ideal one? And the third, with the median age of 42.5 years, what is the pension age and the pension scheme in the Hungary? And then the last, what is the strategy or policy to improve the well-being of seniors or elderly population in Hungary? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Sorry, Miss Sylvia, what's the second question? I think I didn't get it, the second question.
What is the strategy or the policy of the Hungarian government to increase the population to the ideal one?
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Miss Sylvia, you have 4 questions.
Yep.
The first question, what factors that caused the fertility rate decreasing significantly during 1995 to 2014? And the second one, what policy that can increase the fertility rate in Hungary to be the ideal one? So, actually, what number is the ideal population rate or fertility rate in Hungary? And then the third one, what is the pension age in Hungary and what scheme for this elderly? And the last one, what strategy that Hungary government implement to improve the seniors' well-being?
Senior well-being.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Miss Sylvia. The next question, please. Yeah. Okay, we have Haikal. Okay, Mr. Haikal. I'm sorry because I can't read it. Okay, Mr. Haikal, silahkan.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Yona Potkiwanok, Her Excellencies, Mr. Karsai and Dr. Arpat Mezaros. Greetings from Hungary. My name is Haikal Alashari from the Indonesian Student Association here in Hungary, from PPIH. As you have mentioned in your keynote speech that Indonesia contributes significantly to the amount of students throughout the Stipendium Hungaricum scholarship and also the ISMA program in Hungary. There are a substantial amount of students who brings their family along here for the purpose of family reunification and for them to provide mental support throughout their studies. Could you please shed some light on how the Hungarian have set their policies towards ensuring the well-being and the welfare of third country nationals like Indonesian students? And as we might have known that the family of Indonesian students here in Hungary contributes or helps in providing emotional support towards the success of our study. So we would like to know how Hungary have set their policies towards ensuring the welfare of third country nationals like us. Thank you.
Okay, so the question is from Mas Haikal. What the policy that Hungary government implement to ensure well-being for students, third country students in Hungary, as well as their family? Yeah? Yeah. Okay, thank you. And the last question, please. No? Okay, so we have, okay, here, live. Okay, offline. Offline, yes, please. So please introduce yourself.
Thank you for the chance, Mrs. Ambassador of Hungary, Mrs. Lila Kersai, and Pauki, and also Mr. Ambassador that is attending this event online. I'm Lintang from Indonesia News Agency, antaranews.com. I wanted to ask two questions to Madam Ambassador, and Pauki maybe also wants to answer my question. The first one is, we have the issue in Indonesia where the young people is afraid to get married. Is it also happen in your country, Madam Ambassador, and how Hungary overcome these problems? And then the second question is, does Hungary have a program for women pregnancy? As now in Indonesia, we're having a new policy that we will be having extend male paternity leave. And what is the ideal time for a father to have a paternity leave, as in Hungary or in Indonesia maybe? That's all of my question.
And for Pauki?
Yeah, also for Pauki. And for Pauki, maybe can answer the question number 2. What is the ideal number for a male paternity leave? Maybe.
Male paternity leave. I think BKKBN has already the standard for male paternity. All right.
Thank you.
So thank you, Ms. Lintang. So 2 questions for Madam Ambassador. How to handle the problem with a young generation now who are afraid to get married? I think Mr. Mazoris already explained some points there, I remember. And the second one, what program for women pregnancies that, is there any paternity leave or etc.? So, and Pak Uki, paternity leave, yeah, the ideal paternity leave for Bapak-Bapak, for fathers. Okay, so the time is yours, Madam Ambassador, to answer all of the questions.
Thank you very much for all the questions. I may need some help in case I forget any questions to answer to. I've seen some similarities, or my answer would also cover a few questions from the first and the second people or participants who asked me questions. So about the family-friendly government, like what can we actually call family-friendly? It was also mentioned by Mr. Mészáros that there are 5 purposes or goals for the family-friendly government creation. One is to make in people's mind that to have children, it's actually an advantage and not a disadvantage. The second is to help families to create a home, to be able to buy a home and to set a family there in a safe environment. The third, which is, I believe, is very important in all societies, to build the family policy on mothers, which means in this case that women don't have to be afraid if they lose their career or they have to give up something from their life which may affect the family as it is. Of course, the whole country has to be family friendly, but what does exactly that means? We are aiming to have good education starting from nurseries and kindergarten, so women are also able to go back to work. However, we also give the chance to mothers to stay home in case they wanted to. Later on, I will also tell a few words about that. And of course, what is also a very important factor is the legal basis, how families and how children can be protected in the society. So I think for family-friendly government, this more or less showcase about the Hungarian approach for this. And the second question was about the fertility, if I am not mistaken. So about the fertility, it has also the historical part and also why is it increased before. In 2010, there were many people, especially after the economic crisis from 2008, there were many people who were kind of threatened by poverty and the losing their jobs, the unemployment rate, the employment itself was also dropped a lot. So the result was that in 2011, we produced the lowest fertility rate in Hungary, which was only 1.23, as it was also mentioned. And we had the lowest number in the European Union at that time. By now, by 2024, according to the statistics, we have a much higher number. We are higher at this moment, we are about the EU standards, and we can proudly tell that the biggest changes were in Hungary. But I believe the reason is because of our family-friendly approach, that we make sure that no matter if there is any crisis, economical crisis, the families are protected. The government is there to help the families to maintain their living standards. And also, as I already explained, there are a lot of measurements that helps for the family, starting from home creation. Also, as it was mentioned by Mr. Mészáros, that, for example, if someone has a student loan but become a parent in an earlier age or young age, I would say, they are exempted to pay it back. Mothers have the maternity leave for 6 months, which they have the full salary that they earned in the previous 180 days. But even if later on they would like to stay home, they are able to, because the Hungarian government gives them the support. So I think these are kind of safety nets for people, and they don't think of having families as one of the potential risks for poverty, but they say that having children is based on our cultural values, our cultural identities. Hungary is a conservative, religious country, so that shouldn't be on an expense of some financial reasons. Next question. I try to make my notes are not very... okay, maybe we can move on for the pensioners or retirement. The current age for both for men and women is 65 years old for retirement, which is not the lowest for sure within the European Union. However, we also need to take into consideration that Hungary's population is still decreasing. So in order to enabling to maintain the economic growth or even to stagnate, we need people who work. So at the very moment, although the Hungarian government works very hard to strengthen more and more the economy, we are still unfortunately, we are still not in that situation that we are able to send people in the people retirement at an earlier age. Just a thought before the fertility, like why it is not growing faster, it is also because of the decreasing of the population. So the statistics may be a little bit tricky to see because we have less women to have children now in order to have more children. So hopefully soon it will be balanced out or have even more children. For the retirement itself, what does the Hungarian government do to make it a more secured environment for them? Well, I think this also goes back to the safe family environment. The Hungarian government aims to have a secured family, which is also includes the grandparents, the parents, and the grandchildren. So in a safe and stable economic environment where we have more children who are able to boost the economy because of their contribution, because they are productive, that also will make the security, social security for the pensioners stable. So in very shortly, I think this could be like a good answer on a very basic level. As for the student, especially for students who live in Hungary, either with the Stipendium Hungaricum scholarship, which is a full degree program, that means, for example, PhD students who stay there, they are more likely stay there for many years, as long as they do their research, they graduate. And also the Hungarian government support PhD students for family unity. So, I mean, they can issue the visa for the stay permit, and they also provide the accommodation, which is usually like a full apartment. So it is not like staying in a dormitory, sharing the room with many other people, but it is also possible that the families can go with the wife, with the children or husband, of course. And that is supported also, if may not fully or 100%, but in a quite big part of the expenses. Of course, especially for those people whose family are back to Indonesia and they are very far from home. They need very far from families as well. They need psychological support, which this is my own experience because I studied in China before, after graduation from high school. I live in Indonesia for 8 years, so I have some clue what is it like being so far away and face those challenges which is not easy to cope with when you are alone. I know by fact that in Hungary, the Indonesian community is very strong. So they have different groups, they gather together many times, but also the universities themselves where they study, they have those kind of programs where they can not just meet with other Indonesians, but other foreigners. So I think the Hungarian education system also try its best to make these to make these communities gather, and the Stipendium Hungaricum scholarship program also arranging some field trips as well. So there is a possibility to meet. Of course, the psychological level, when someone decides to live in another country, they also need to take into consideration what they are capable of handling emotionally, because it's not easy. So I really do hope that making friends, making good bonds, enjoy the environment can help, especially in Hungary, because Hungarian government is very strict about that discrimination is not accepted on any level. Therefore, even the practicing religions, any kind of religion, is accommodated. Hungary is I would say it's a very safe country, also for public safety, but also for culture-wise. And it is not just for the students, but even the Indonesian workers in Hungary. We really want to make them feel that they are welcomed, and it is a win-win situation. So as much as they can benefit by working abroad, by have a safe and ethical employment, Hungary can also achieve the goals for economic growth, let's say. And the fifth was about the young people who, if they are afraid to get married, or what the Hungarian government does. I think that also can go back to that fact which was about the fertility rate, that why people didn't want to have children. Why people have, in Hungary, abortion is legal. So, however, the Hungarian government still try to do their best to make sure that this is like really the last choice, and there are several other factors that, option or other factors that someone decide the opposite and rather have the children or the child. So we believe in Hungary that having a children is still one of the key factors that they are afraid to be part, they are afraid of poverty. So the younger age they realize that this is not a threat, is the earlier they will have children, I believe. And of course, the Hungarian government also take a strong emphasis on having families in a married family. So the couples are married. It is not illegal to have children if they are not married, but on the other hand, we see that the tendency is that in those families where the parents are married, it is more stable, and the likeliness of divorce is less if they have the children in a married couple. And fortunately, the statistics shows that even that is, in the statistics, it also shows that even the divorce rate declined in the past years. Is just some numbers that since 2010, when the fertility rate was so low, it doubled the willingness of getting married, and since and even during this time, those people or those children who are born, 3 out of 4 are born in a married parent family. So I think that is important to have this kind of safety as well, that what are the values that we represent, what exactly, what is the environment that we would like to have the children in order to nurture them also socially, also economically. About the paternity leave, I can only talk about the Hungarian, and it is a paternity leave, but also for fathers and also for mothers. For mothers, as I mentioned, there is a 6-month maternity leave with the full payment of the salary of the previous half of the year. Maybe Indonesia can also say, which makes also the bond between the mother and the baby, stronger. However, I have to emphasize this is not only for mother. If the family decide that the father stay home, it applies the same. Yes, but also for fathers we give paternity leave. However, that is lower. Also, when the baby is born, they have a few days, but I need to check on how much exactly. But also they have extra holidays during the year when they have children, and it is increasing if there are more children. So it is not like one fixed number. Yes, increase the leave. So I think this is also something that important for people when they want to when they decide if they have the safe environment to have the children in their home. So maybe for the paternity leave, you can share some other numbers.
Yes, thank you. Maybe this.
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much, Excellency, Madam Ambassador, and also Madam Moderator. Thank you, Madam Lintang, for the question. Regarding the Indonesian law number 13, year 2013, concerning workforce, actually, the government Indonesia already arranged this kind of mechanism for the maternity leave for both public and private worker would be 3 months. 3 months, yeah?
The ideal.
Yeah, the ideal. Maybe because in Indonesia, it's common to have a nanny or housemaid and also other caregiver in the family who help those postpartum mothers. While for the paternity leave for the husband, according to Indonesian law number 13, year 2013 regarding workforce, the husband entitled for 2 days. 2 days.
But the ideal, how long?
Well, yes. Actually, for the public servant, for the government employee, it's still finalized within the government. Yes, probably also at maximum 15 days. 15 days. Yes, it's more flexible. But now for the sector public worker, for the male, entitled for 2 days. Thank you very much. And one more thing regarding child free. Yes, this is also interesting, Madam Lintang. The figure has not yet published officially, but the phenomenon we can see in Indonesia right now, it's increasing now. Yeah. The trend for those young generation, they say they don't want to have children. Thank you very much.
I'm just sorry, I just really add something because I got the idea from Pak Ukik that yes, actually our culture is very different because in Hungary it is very unusual or not usual, I would say, to have a nanny. However, the nurseries and the kindergartens are also free, the public ones, and they also provide a good education system, I would say, safe environment. So because of this, mothers can leave after 6 months if they wanted to, and then they can continue working. Yeah, so that is a major difference between our cultures.
Okay. Okay, thank you for Madam Ambassador and also Mr. Uki for the answer. So I think all questions have been answered. And one thing, I think it's very good for young generation to take scholarship going to Hungary. So then having family, you will get the stipend probably from Hungary government. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So now we are going to end of the session. But before I hand it over to our Master of Ceremony, I have 5 highlight notes here. The first one is we can see that demographic issues are strongly associated with economic growth. As mentioned by our presenter, that investing family means that investing future, and no demographic means that no competitiveness and no sustainability. And we can see, even though there are some differences between Indonesian and also Hungary because of some circumstances, for example, like different size of the country, different size of population, but still both countries focus on family policy. So that means from now on, we all agree that family as the center of policy, so means that we have to strengthen our family policy in our country. So I think that's all from our discussion session. Thank you very much, and I should acknowledge all of the speakers. Thank you for His Excellency Chairperson of BKKBN, Bapak Dr. Hasto Wardoyo, MD of GIN, Her Excellency Madam Ambassador Lila Karsai, Ambassador of Hungary to Indonesia, His Excellency Bapak Gunadi Adisasmita as a Minister Counselor of Indonesia Embassy in Budapest, Honorable Bapak Dr. Arpad Mezaros, Strategic Vice President of the Maria Kopp Institute for Demography and Families in Hungary, Ibu Irma Ardiana, MD, MAPS, Officer in Charge, Deputy for Training, Research and Development of BKKBN, and Bapak Dr. Uki Kusuma Kurniawan, SKM, MPS, MA, as Head of CITC BKKBN, and also Madam Ilona as Head of Mission Hungary Embassy. Of course, ladies and gentlemen. So I think that's all from me. Thank you very much. I hand it over to Ibu Febi as the Master of Ceremony. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, Dr. Yulina Evariani, for moderating this session. It is a fruitful discussion and very interesting to share and exchange various settings and experiences on population and economic issues, as well as family planning and development between two countries. The discussion is valuable for us to identify future collaboration, and question and answer session also give us more comprehensive situation that is context specific. Excellencies, distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen, now that our webinar is coming to an end, we would like to express our deepest gratitude to our presenters and guests of honor, His Excellency Dr. Hasto Wardoyo, Her Excellency Madam Lila Karsai, Deputy Head of Mission Embassy of Hungary, Madam Ilona, Honorable Bapak Gunadi Adi Sasmita, Honorable Dr. Arpad Mezaros, Dr. Irma and Dr. Uki Kusuma Kurniawan. Your support truly appreciated, and we were thrilled to have you here. Thanks again for making this event so special. And to all of participants, thank you for your participation, and we hope that you gained valuable insight and found the event informative and enjoyable. As our appreciation of your participation, please grab your e-certificate by filling out the Google form with the link provided at the chat box. And for those who win a door prize, kindly please contact us, the committee, and we will send you a souvenir. And congratulations to Gracia Ivana, Sylvia Indriastuti, Lintang, and Haikal Al-Ashari. Please contact to the committee, Bapak Srianto, at the number. and see you at the next Ambassador Insight. Stay safe and healthy. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And for closing the event, we would like to invite Dr. Uki and Madam Lily Karsai for token appreciation and photo session. Thank you.
Excellency, Madam Ambassador, we would like to convey our gratitude for your attendance to this event. And please accept this souvenir from BKKBN to the Embassy of Hungary in Jakarta. This symbolizes the male participation in family planning. The figure is Arjuna. The good husband. Please accept. Goodie bag from BKKBN, yes. Oh, yeah, the other one. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. This is a souvenir from BKKBN. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Bapak. Let's take a picture together. Yes.
Ayo deh tolong. Fotoin. Ini.
Recording stopped.
Thank you.